This is called finding the slope. Okay? Finding.
This is not the standard form, right?
Nope, this is finding the slope. Finding the slope. From two coordinates. Okay. From two coordinates. What does that mean? Finding the slope from two coordinates. Well, exactly what it says. I'm going to give you two coordinates, and you're going to find the slope. Okay? And you use the slope equation to find it. Except, I'm going to make the slope equation so much easier than they make it. Alright, this is what I mean. In the book, you'll find this. This is a slope equation. M equals, make it a little darker. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now what does that mean? Well, it means you are given 2 points. Point A is x1 and y1. Point B is x sub 2 and y sub 2. And what you do is you plug them into this equation. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? And for some people that's really easy. They like to do that. For other people they're like me. They're a little dyslexic and it's hard for them. Okay? So sometimes their y sub 1 goes into the y sub 2 area, whereas their y sub 2 goes into the, or their x sub 2 goes in the x sub 2 area, and their problem is wrong. Okay? So if you don't plug them in correctly, it'll be wrong. Now here's the funky thing about it. This is the way they always show it in the book. In every single book that's out there. Why? You got me. Because it doesn't have to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1. It could be y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. They're the same thing. They're exactly the same thing. So I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, what's common about this? Well, the x's and the y's are always above, the one from that coordinate is always above the other one in the coordinate. So I was like, come on kids, here's the thing, you got a bunch of snotty-nosed brat 14, 15, 16-year-olds in your class. What are the first things they want to do? Complain, this is hard, this is confusing, I don't get it, I'm quitting. Okay? So, what is it my job to do? Make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it easy, make it something that they can remember. Okay? So, what did I do? I used a little bit of slang that was in a little hip-hop music that we were listening to, and you know, flip it, smack it, rub it down, and all this stuff, right? And I'm all like, all right, you know, we'll take some of that hip-hop and we'll just go, okay, we're going to flip and smack this, and later on we'll rub it down. So, and then they're all like, woo, you know, all the condensations that go on with the conversations, and they're all like, oh, I know what he's talking about, yeah, he's looking at you, girl, and blah, 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 and all this. And you let them talk, because what are they doing? They're getting engaged, as far as I'm concerned. What does my principal think? He wasn't quite happy with it, right? Thinks I'm being a little bit too sexual with them, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? They're the ones coming up with everything, not me. I'm just saying, hey, flip it and smack it. Well, why? Why do we flip it and smack it? Because one thing is we need to flip the y to be on top, right? And you know, get a little crazy, y's on top, you know, because they're not stupid. They're starting to get biology, and they know that boys have the Y chromosome and girls have the X chromosomes and Y's are on top, and then they're all talking. But again, they're talking. They're interested. They're engaged. So now it's interesting. Oh man, this has had everything to do with what I want to do, and that's, you know, procreate. I mean, that's what teenagers want to do.
What's the name of the equation? I mean, what's
This
the
is
name of
just a slope. The equation for a slope.
Oh, okay.
The equation for a slope is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So, here's how the flip it and smack it goes, okay? Basically, I give you two equations, or I give you two coordinates, okay? Let's just say 2, negative 3, and let's say negative 5 and 7. So I want to give you things that have nothing to do with each other, okay? No numbers are the same, because it's easier when we're doing it when no numbers are the same. Okay? And I usually ask the class for numbers, because why not? You know, it's totally random. This is as hard as it gets. Literally, as hard as it gets. Totally random numbers. Very, very difficult problem right here. Usually, we're going to make it very simple by flipping it and smacking it. And this is what I tell my daughter, too, is when somebody grabs you from behind, okay? What are you to do? And your first thing is to flip around, right? Smack them in the mouth, kick them in the balls, and run. Okay? That's all I want you to do. Somebody grabs you, you don't know who they are, you flip, and you smack up high, you smack down low, and you get the hell out of there. Simple, right? It's the same thing here. I'm going to flip it. Flip it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this and I'm flipping it. Right? Oops. Wrong way. Y's have to be on top, though. Y's have to be on top. So flip it. Flip it. Sorry about that. The Y has to be on top. Why is the Y on top? And you know, I was a lot younger, and I didn't really have an answer for him. Now I'm a lot older. There's a real simple answer. What's on top?
Y.
Y. That's why Y's are on top. Because Y's rise and fall. Right? The rise is on top. The run is down below. So that's why the X is down below. So flip it. So I got negative 3 over 2. I have 7 over negative 5. Try to make those visible. Okay? So I flipped it. Now I smack it. Smack it up high. Smack it down low. And run. Okay? So smack it up high, smack it down low, and run. Notice I'm using different colors because I want you to see that, oh, we put in a negative here and there was already a negative here. So what's going to happen? Then this is going to be negative 3 plus a negative 7, because it's easier to think of those kind of like adding than it is to be subtracting, right? And this one, 2 negatives make a positive, so 2 plus 5. And now it's really easy. Now I've got negative 10 over 7. And that's M. Okay? All right. Do we have time? We do. You want to graph it? This is as hard as it gets. Now, I could graph it really easily right here, right? But what I can't do is give you the equation of a line. And that's what a lot of times do. test is going to ask, well, what's the equation of the line? Well, I can graph this because they gave me the 2 points, right? The 2 points are 2, 1, 2, and -3, 1, 2, 3, and -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my line. But what's the equation of the line? Okay? So now I have to put it back into the equation of the line. And what is the equation of the line? Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So I know what m is. I also know what x is, and I also know what y is, because it's one of these. Pick one. Which one's easier? Okay? So the one I like is the one that's smaller. Okay? The one that has smaller numbers. So I take that one and plug it in. -3 equals -10/7 times x, which is 2, plus b. And now we have a typical equation. Remember, this is 2/1. We do our math. That's -20/7 plus b equals -3. Okay? Well, I'm going to add 20/7 to this. But before I do it, why don't I just make it 3, make it over 1, right? But then I need to make that 1 a 7. I times it by 7. I got over 7. 3 times 7 is 21. And it's negative, right? Equals -20/7 plus b. So now when I add 20/7 and 20/7, then I get what? 1/7. -1/7. Right? So, my intercept is at -1/7. So, should be actually, if I drew this better, that would have been a better draw, right? And that would be at -1/7, and it makes sense. So when you're that's why when you're drawing your line, you know, it's only as good as the artist, because this is art. This isn't math, right? So by doing the math, now I know my b and I know my m. So I come over here and I write it. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals m, which is -10/7, x plus, or minus in this case, 1/7. And that's my slope-intercept form, or my line for the equation. Okay? And that is about as hard as it gets. I mean, that was a really tough problem. Questions? You have 1 minute, 10 seconds.
I'm behind him.
Just behind it? Yeah. We'll work on it again.